All right, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. It's me, Dr. Kai Dupuy, Coding While Black, episode 68. Happy New Year, happy holidays. Today is Sunday. I believe it's the 3rd. Obviously, I got on my Cowboys gear. Obviously, them boys played at night. You know how we do. It's been snowing here quite a bit. And so this is the first day that I got out of my house for a few days as the snow has subsided, and we're warming up a little bit. I think we're up to 34. We were down to like 16 or 15 or something like that a few days back. So there's still plenty of snow on the ground. Made it difficult to get out of my neighborhood, but I made it out. So I'm out here and I decided to drop a new video for the new year. Just wishing everyone a happy holiday, and just drop a few tidbits that have been on my mind for the last few weeks. A lot of news, a lot of articles, a lot of commentary, and I usually pick from some of those kinds of things to discuss. So recently I had somebody hit me up and they asked me for book recommendations on programming or the craft or the art of programming. And I'm going to drop some of those in the description here. I'll put some books, but some of them are and I don't remember the authors, but The Pragmatic Programmer. That's a good book to read as a developer. That's the craft of developing is different than learning about the syntax of a language. That makes a big difference in how good of a programmer you ultimately become. So The Pragmatic Programmer, Code Complete is another excellent book. Some of these are classics. They're old. Debugging the Development Process, another one that I use coming up. There's what's the other one that is Code Complete? I mean, if I mentioned that one. Clean Code is another one that's excellent. The Art of Programming, I believe that's by Worth. There's a lot of them, and I could go on and on and on. I read all of these books when I first started out, because in my career I didn't really learn software development. I learned programming. That's two different things. Coding is separate from software development or software engineering, how to actually construct software. And so I will put a list together, 3 or 4 or 5. Actually, the person that asked me for this information actually found a list online, and so I'll drop that list, and it had most of these books on there. And so you want to augment your study, right? You're a C programmer, you're studying C, you're studying C syntax or C++ or C#, whatever the case may be. That's different than how to build good software, and so that's what you want to also add to your game. Something else that came out recently was the obligatory list of what programming language a program should learn. I actually posted that on one of my other social media sites, what programming language you should learn, and list the most popular, right? I always look at that list, and then you have to compare that with what you're about as a programmer, right? Me, as someone who came from poverty, I was always about marketability. I was always about money. I was always about how much money I could make using a particular language. And as that changed, I changed languages. Not everybody's like that. And at some point in my career, I got to a place where I liked one language over another one, right? But I wouldn't worry about those lists too much. There are people still making good money doing COBOL programming, which is an archaic, or not archaic, but a much older language. The language that I spent a good 20 years coding in was a language called Delphi. And right before I came out to Seattle to start my career as a cloud trainer or AWS trainer, I was working on jobs as a Delphi programmer, and many people laugh at that until they saw how much money I made, right? So I wouldn't pay those lists too much mind. If you're about, you love a particular language, go with that language. If you're about marketability and income and how much you can make and how many jobs are out there available for you with that particular language, choose a language that way. But don't let someone make you think that what they say is the language you should learn is one you should pursue, is what I'm trying to say. What else is out there in the last couple of weeks that's been on my mind? Couple of movies came out that I thought were interesting, or they've been out probably for a little while, but I've got a chance to check them out. I always blend this field of programming with what it's like to be black as a programmer. So a couple of things I just watched The Inconvenient Truth. Not necessarily about programming, but some of our experiences that we have in this field have to do with us being black, and it has to do with the history of this country and how people see black people. So Driving While Black is one that I just recently watched. The Cotton Picking Truth is another one that I watched. Both of those on Prime Video. And I also watched the Uncomfortable Truth, or An Uncomfortable Truth. That was also excellent, right? And it talks about policies and segregation and the way things were set up. And all of these things contribute to why we are underrepresented in the technology field and software development field, which I will be writing about in my forthcoming book. And that's the last thing I'll mention. I was planning on releasing my book this year. However, I got some comments, or last year I should say, I got some comments back from my editor from her last editing session about what I had submitted to her, and her comments made me think I should do something different. So what I'm going to do is revamp the idea for my book, and I'm going to start it off again new in 2022, and hopefully I'll get it out, because it's already written a lot. I just need to kind of rearrange it and kind of come from a different angle. And so I'm going to start doing that next week, and I hope to have this book out by June 2022, and the title is Coding While Black. So that's it for me today. Wanted to drop a new video. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done that. I've been spending time with my family, having a good time, taking a break from work, which I rarely do, but I did it this time and it feels great. So hopefully you folks find this helpful. And if you do, please hit the like button. Tell a friend who's out there who's thinking about going into programming, who's in the field, because there are different phases to this. There's how do you become a programmer, and then there's how do you stay a programmer. How do you become a developer? What do you have to go through? What are the obstacles to get there? And then once you get into an organization, how do you stay? I try to cover both sides of that, and they're not the same thing, right? There's diversity versus inclusion. They're not the same thing, okay? So anyway, that's me once again, episode 68, Dr. Kai Dupuy, Coding While Black. Happy New Year. Go Cowboys. Peace.